Describe it. Late now.
Challenges. Thursday love.
No, your turn. Hey, Jarvis.
What's up, Jarvis?
How you doing, Jarvis?
Thursday love. Thursday love.
How you doing, Jarvis? How things going?
Challenges.
Hey, Trish.
Hey, Trish. Hey, Jonathan.
We're trying to make this work.
We're going to give it just a few more minutes even though it's already 9 o'clock.
How the girls, Jarvis? The girls good?
Hey, Judy.
Hey, Judy.
Keisha.
Keisha.
Please share.
Come on, y'all. Share. Invite all your friends to tune in tonight. We're talking about challenges part 2 tonight. So, yeah. Hey, Pastor Hassani. Work it out. Oh, yeah, I forgot to dance. That's right, Trish. You gonna dance with me? You dancing with me, Trish?
Why gotta be a girl with a red dress, Trish? Why not a blue dress?
Really?
Hey, Mr. James French.
Hey, Mr. French, how are you?
Oh.
Hey, Jesse.
Appreciate it. Pastor Lee.
Thank you, Pastor Lee.
Hey,
Thank
JB.
you.
Brick House.
I hope everybody's been having a good week.
I'm gonna do one more rotation of this 30-second Thursday love, and then we're gonna start.
Okay.
5.
You gonna dance with me this time?
Nope. Challenges.
All right, we are here. Thursday love, Thursday night, 9 o'clock. Hey everybody, hey Jonathan, Jessica, hey everybody that's joined in. Thank you for tuning in.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
One more night with us. Amen. We are on a roll. We are on a roll. So last week we brought up the topic or the thing, challenges. So I feel like I'm not saying that word right.
See, we're talking about challenges, and she's having a
challenge.
challenge saying the
this
word challenges.
So, challenges can be issues or storms that arise in your life, in your relationship. And so, we got good feedback from a good few of y'all that really loved the segment. So, thank you all for who loved it, who shared it. Thank you. And so, y'all, we had a demand for more people to request challenges. So, we bringing in tonight challenges part 2. So, tonight we're going to talk about a couple of more challenges. We're not going to go in so many challenges like we did last week. We went into like 5 or 6 challenges talking about commitment. You know, are y'all speaking the same language? Are you accountable? How to forgive and affirm. We talked a little bit about finances and stuff like that. So, you know, tonight we're going to talk about only 3 other topics. We're just going to do 3 challenges. But anytime you have any questions,
That's the goal.
That's the goal anyway. Yeah. If you have any questions, you got any comments, or you got some suggestions, or a question for us. If you have a question for us, let's take a few minutes. Anybody got any questions for us before we really get into this? Before we dive into this? Hey, Stefan.
Hey, Charlene.
Hey, Contessa. Hey, Charlene. Do anybody have any questions about anything that they have any I think to ask about any challenges that go on in their relationship and stuff like that? Let us know. All right.
We hopefully will get to them with this little thing. Don't scroll like it's supposed to, but we're gonna do what we do.
Yeah, we're gonna try to make it work. We're not having any technical issues tonight. To God be the glory. So, all right, let's go. No, you were starting off. Remember, we were talking about. So the first challenge. Oh, wait a minute. Pastor Hassan has a question. How did y'all meet?
Pastor Hassan, we only got 30 minutes.
I have a short version.
That thing's going to take a long time.
I have a short version. I have a very short version.
Just say the Lord knocked her out. And when she came to, I was there like a knight in shining armor. I had a challenge with the fence. And the fence won.
Tell the world. Oh, God. Oh, God. That is not how we met. That is not how we met. That is not how we met. Oh, God. High school.
We knew each other in high school.
We knew of each other.
Yeah, we knew each other in high school. Sherry played basketball. I was in the band.
Two rivalry high schools. Two rivalry high schools.
Make a long story short, she graduated from college. I met her again at my brother's graduation.
Yeah.
And met her that Sunday at a softball tournament.
Yeah.
And we kicked it off. We being real. I tell you what, this is what we'll do. Maybe next week we'll come on and we'll give y'all the love story of how we met. I promise you that'll take the whole 30 minutes.
If he tell it,
I tell it right.
It will be the whole 30 minutes of our session.
I tell you right. I promise you that it'll be good.
All
right. So tonight, one of the first challenges we're talking about is admitting when you are wrong. Hey, Overseer Montgomery.
Hey.
Well, praise the Lord. Hallelujah. All right. So we're going to talk about admitting when you are wrong. Now, I might have touched on this. We might have touched on this like one time before. But I know for me, because it's a male thing, and then again, I can't speak for female, but for a male thing, one of the toughest things for me to do is to admit when I am wrong. Yeah, I'm saved. Yeah, I got the Holy Ghost. And I'm saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost, filled, and fire baptized. I got Jesus on my side. I'm running for my life. But it is hard for me to admit when I am wrong. And early on in the relationship, I realized that was a challenge for me, but it was not just a challenge, but it was also a hindrance. Because if you can't admit when you're wrong, that's a major issue. And not only will it hinder your marriage, but it'll also hinder you in your day-to-day life.
Hey, Bonnie.
Hey, who?
Bonnie.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Bonnie. Yeah, it'll hinder you in your day-to-day life. Admitting when you're wrong, it takes a whole lot. A whole lot to admit when you are wrong. It takes the pride and it shoves it in the pocket. It takes it takes every fiber of the Holy Ghost to admit when you're wrong. But admitting when you're wrong, I know in our marriage, admitting when I was wrong, it saved a lot. It saved us a lot.
But it's funny though. Why is it that we have a problem admitting that we're wrong?
Well,
that's a question. Like, what is the problem?
Hey, Mama, you on? Karen Bridges join. Oh Lord, we gonna rock.
Hey, Charlene. But I mean, like, really, like, what is the issue? Why is it that we cannot admit that we're wrong in a relationship? Why do we have that feeling? Have to have that feeling that we have to be right about everything?
Well, I can say for me, and like I said, it's a pride thing. For most men, we like to stick our chests out. We like to stick our chests out, and we're supposed to be deemed as the head of the household and so forth and so on, all this good old stuff. But sometimes when you admit when you're wrong, it feels as if you have belittled yourself, or it feels as if your pride has taken a hit. And sometimes it makes you feel this. Mind you, it really is the devil. It's the enemy. It makes you sometimes feel like you're less than a man.
Yeah.
I don't know how it feels for a woman, but it does. And when you're right, it makes your, like I said, it makes you stick your chest out and you get to rape your rig flag. It's like you get to stick it in somebody's face, But what I realized was in this marriage, it's really not about, it's not about who's right or who's wrong.
Well, mine's a little different.
Go ahead.
I still say it's pride. I would say pride, yeah. But I think mine's a little more personal because mine stems from my roots of not wanting to make a mistake. So if I could be transparent a little bit.
Please.
Okay, so if I can be transparent a little bit. For some odd reason, okay, so when I played basketball growing up, my dad was like my coach.
She was a beast.
And he was on me hard. So it was like making a mistake was like disappointment, seeing the disappointment in his face or seeing that I let him down. So it got to the point that I did not want to make a mistake. So mine kind of grew with me. And so it wasn't just in basketball I didn't like making mistakes. It was like in everything I didn't want to make a mistake. And it kind of grew with me as I got older. And so even in a relationship, we can say pride. Yes, pride, I do agree. But I guess I'm just saying my personal testimony. I had an issue growing up with not wanting to make a mistake because I did not like to see the disappointment or the letdown on my dad's face when it came to like basketball or even with my mom, if, she told me to do something and I didn't do it right. Those were some self-esteem issues that I had to deal with. And it was hard for me. It was very hard. So getting in a relationship, and you get to the point you start battling back some things or whatever, you feel like you're right. You don't want to admit that you're wrong because if I admit that I'm wrong, I made some type of mistake. And I don't want to feel like I made some type of mistake because mistake feel like I let myself down, I let you down, or something happened that just totally went wrong and that's on me. So that was part of my reason why I don't like being wrong.
To God be the glory. Another challenge. And this might sound a little weird, but admitting when you are right is also a challenge. And why do I say that? Because as a spouse, we were talking about admitting when you're wrong. When you tell your spouse that they are wrong and technically you are right, you don't know the consequences that you telling your spouse that they're right is going to have. Mm-hmm. It could be a positive. It could be a negative. They could get upset, catch an attitude, and not want to talk to you for a whole day or whatever the case is, or they could, accept it with, constructive. They can accept it constructively.
Mm-hmm. I think sometimes, you told me that sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So a lot of us, we like to say, I told you so. I told you so.
Yeah, and a boo-boo.
I told you so.
Our kids do that.
We like to say, I told you so. But sometimes in a relationship, I told you so need to be kept. We feel like we have to throw off that we right. And it's like we've proven a point. We got, what? I told, it's kind of, it's a little arrogance in it,
Yeah. This is one thing so as I was saying, as being a man, right? So I got pride, right? So, we want to be right. We want to tell others what to do, but we don't want to be told what to do. Mm-hmm. All right? And that's what the problem is.
Pastor Simon said the couch ministry.
Yeah, the couch ministry. Yes, the consequence is the couch ministry. Yes, sir. And the thing is, a lot of time, and mind you, now I've got to the point now where I will admit it. It might be like maybe 6 months to a year later, exactly. But I'll admit it. Like I want to do some things, and Sherry will come be like, TJ, you might not want to do that X, Y, and Z, and she'll come and give me a reason why. Mm-hmm. So in her face, like I said, it's a pride thing, but I'm admitting it, right? So I'm admitting it publicly for everybody. So in her face, I won't tell her, baby, you're right. What I'll do is I'll go driving down the road or whatever, and this ain't God doing this now. This is me doing this to myself. This ain't God now because we like to spiritualize everything. Mm-hmm. What I'll do is I'll get into the car and I'll play back the whole conversation in my head of what we talked about, and I'll have what it is that I want to see. I have what it is that I want to do, and then I have what she told me, and so it's like the scale. I'll weigh the options. Okay, This is what I want to do. This is what she said I should do. Which one is right? So you hate to admit that you're wrong, but more than likely she's usually right. So what I'll do is I'll get into what I do is I'll make sure she's around. Well, be having a conversation with somebody.
Yeah, and it'll be a group of people.
Yeah, I'll be in a group of people.
A group of people.
And so she'll be in the group, and so I won't necessarily tell her she was right. But I will say, you know what? I'm using an example. I was gonna run up the tree, but Sherry told me that I should run up the tree. You know, she was right. I ain't want to admit that she was right, but she was right.
And so, he does that to this day.
I do it faithfully.
Hey John, hey Arthur, DJ, all those that Keith, all those just join in. Hey.
Yeah, I do it, and I don't make no apologies. Baby.
And he does, you know. And there's a thing, you know. And I think in the beginning, in the first part, it's hard to admit when you're wrong or whatever. And that's in my opinion. I think it's hard to admit when you're wrong, and even when you're right, because you know when you finally, if you don't admit that you're wrong, it can't open the door to some things, depending on what you're wrong in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It could be something small as you didn't put the top back on the juice in the refrigerator to something big. You know, and I think, but those things need to be discussed. It needs to be spoken, and that's where communication comes in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As well as admitting when you're right. You know, sometimes we as women, we like to speak everything that is on our mind. We do. We like to speak everything that is on our mind. We need to get our point across. Even when the argument is going on, we just got to get our point across. We got to say what's on our mind, period. And don't let us be right. We don't know how to shut up.
Amy, you sound just like your husband.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
it's just honestly, a man thing.
You know, honestly, we don't know how to shut up. But sometimes, you know, a man has a pride issue, so he kind of builds himself off that. So sometimes in certain arguments or whatever, if you know you're right, sometimes your silence is so key to the relationship.
Silence is powerful.
Because, you know, just because you're right, you don't have to always prove or shout that you're right. You can just say, all right, if you can look at him, you should be able to look at him and tell by his body mannerisms that, okay, he learned his lesson, he got it, he shouldn't have done it, or, you know, he was wrong or whatever, you were right in the situation. I just need to just back up off the situation, because sometimes if we say what's on our mind, or say we just got to keep proving that we're right in this, it'll cause a whole nother argument. It becomes nagging. You become angry. I mean, you spark up in something in your spouse that you've never seen before.
And say something that you can't take back.
And you may say something, most definitely, that you cannot take back.
Because people say that words don't have power.
Words.
That's one of the biggest.
Yeah. That's
one of the biggest lies possible.
Especially, go ahead.
Oh, words do have power, because the thing is, once you say it out of your mouth, you can say you're sorry all day long, but you've already done the damage.
Charlene said, yes, Lord, work on me, Charlene.
Oh yeah, Charlene. Yeah, you already done damage. And you know, as men, like I said, we're prideful, but women, you can say some things to hurt us as men, and men, we can say some things to hurt women. Because as husband and wife, like, as we're still talking about being right or wrong, as husband and wife, we can hurt each other the worst,
right? More
than anybody else,
right?
I know exactly what to say right now, whether I'm right or wrong. I know what to say right now to hurt Sherry to the core. She knows what to say to hurt me,
because I care about him the most.
Right.
I love him the most, and I respect him the most. So his words weigh very heavy in my life.
Right. But just because I know that doesn't mean I should do it.
Yeah, that's right.
And sometimes, let me say this too, while we're on the subject of being right and wrong. While you're in the midst of a heated argument, you might have said that, but don't say stuff to hurt your spouse while you're in an argument, whether you're right or wrong, on purpose. Don't do that, because once you two, like I just said about words, once y'all make amends, what you said to them to hurt them, it's going to be in the back of their mind.
Yeah.
I promise you that.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is, when we talk about being right or wrong, like I said, it can cause the negative things. It can cause arguments. Be careful. Try to think. Make sure you think about what you're saying. I mean, try to. I know it's
hard because you're angry. Your emotions high. But
right. But make sure you think about what you say. Like I said, because once you say it, it's out there.
Right.
And the devil is busy. He really is. So he'll bring that thing back up over and over again. So just be careful about, what you say and how you say it and how you present it. Right. Hey, Mijan.
Woo!
Mijan. Pride. Yes, right, Pastor Lee. All right. So we talked about admitting when you're right, admitting when you're wrong, and the consequences of it.
Yeah, that's a challenge, and that's basically learning temperance, self-discipline, or self-control with your mouth. You know, we say, we good. I know Charlene said it earlier. Lord help me, and it is. If your heart is really pure because you don't want your words to damage your spouse, you really would practice it. It's a practice. Believe me, this stuff don't happen overnight.
It don't.
Because admitting you're wrong or admitting you're right, that happens with some mistakes coming along the way, and you taking notice of the situation at the time it's happening. And so you practice, okay, should I say something right now? Should I leave it alone? Or, you know what I'm saying, really think about it. Take the time to actually think about it. You have control over your emotions. Your emotions should not have control over you. Right. So,
Pastor Sonny, you're right. As a married people, our words do carry weight years later.
Yes.
Hey, Barbara Sutton Jr. Hello. That's why we need to be careful of what we say.
Lakia.
Like I said, I know it's hard, but you got to do it. You got to think before you speak.
All right, and that kind of flows into our next challenge. Our next challenge is, can I be myself with you? Can I be myself with you? Can I just be me? Sing, boo?
No.
Okay. I thought he was going to sing. No. Okay. Can I be myself with you? And we probably kind of touched on it, but being right or wrong, that was the first challenge. Because sometimes, some of us, we feel like we're right and we won't say nothing because we don't want our spouse or whatever to look at us in a different light. We choose to put on a sense of false appearance as well as a false expectation around them, and we're not ourselves. It's about knowing your own self-identity, knowing your own self-worth. Because like in the beginning of our relationship, as we stated before, TJ and I are opposites. We're opposites attract, or whatever. Opposites attract.
Light skin, dark skin.
Yeah.
Short, tall, long hair, bald head.
That ain't the opposite I was talking about. But opposites attract. He was a musician. I was an athlete. But so basically, when our worlds collided, I was no longer an athlete anymore. I done played through high school, through college. I done played all the sports or whatever, and my world kind of was dimming out. Whereas he's a musician, his was still ongoing, his still flourishing. And so it was like I became more part of his world, which was the church world and in the musician world or whatever. And so everybody that was around him was singers, musicians, and this is all they did. They sung, they played, they sung, and they played. Okay, I don't have not one singing musical ability in my body, bone, whatever. And so I did not know.
Yes, you do.
I did not know how to fit in that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know how to be myself. That's the challenge. That was my challenge. I did not know how to be myself around TJ because my world was used to sports all day long, athletes all the time. Being in gyms. Being on the blacktop, we just playing ball wherever, whenever, and but his see us. All right, there we go. All right. Anyway, so I didn't know who I was. So it was a whole new world for me. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know. And so I'm like, well, God, I can't sing. How does this work? I can't sing. I can't play no instrument or whatever. I'm used to being in the center of a crowd. I'm not in this crowd. This is a whole different crowd. They talking about stuff, crescendos and vibratos and words I'm just now learning 20 years later, and I still don't know all of them. I just didn't know who I was. And so it was hard for me to be myself around him because I felt like I had to put on a certain persona to be around him and his crew. I ain't gonna say his crew, but the people he knew.
Mind you, this is her perception.
Yeah. Keep going. No, I'm. That was my talk on that.
See, the thing is, what I mean by it was her perception. This is what she thought she had to do in order to be with me.
Right.
Not once did I ever tell her that she had to stop playing ball, that she had to stop. I never told her she had to stop being who she was in order to be with me. So in her mind, she thought she had to sing and she thought she had to learn how to play instrument. She thought she had to do all this stuff
Right.
to fit into quote unquote my world,
Right.
which technically us coming together was not about her fitting into my world. It was about us fitting together.
Yeah.
And but make a long story short, when she realized that I wasn't asking her to be nobody but herself, then she began, and this is for anybody. Stop trying to be who others want you to be and be who you're supposed to be.
Right.
Because once she realized that I only wanted her to be herself, then she also realized the gifts that actually lied within her.
And see, and I had to overcome that false sense of expectation. I had to just sit back and say, stop. You know, I had to tell myself that, because some of us are probably caught in a relationship whereas we're not 100% ourselves because we feel like they're not going to approve of me. They're not going to validate me. And that comes from some, you know, low self-esteem, not knowing your worth, not knowing your identity.
Right.
And, you know, and honestly, if that person loves you like they say they do, that means they love all of you. Your perfections, your imperfections.
Yes. Your curves and all your edges. Something imperfection. Christian boy, church boy.
But that's what I'm saying though. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to look beyond that, and not saying that happened overnight. It took a while, especially in the first few years, because like I said, it was a new world for me.
Right.
This was a new world for me. So it took a few years, and I kept asking God, where do I fit in this? Where do I fit in this? Because I don't feel like I fit in this. And honestly, I was trying to fit in something that wasn't meant for me to fit in.
And not only that, but she was trying to fit into something that she didn't have to fit in. All she had to do was be herself.
Be myself.
That's it. And the thing is, when you're dating and stuff, I know when we were dating, you know, you go all out trying to, you know, make sure you smell good, which you should still smell good. Don't stink after you get married. But, you know, you try to, you should.
I mean, what I'm saying, I'm talking about the stinking.
I'm saying whatever it is that you do, whatever you do to get them, you got to continue to do it to keep them.
Yeah.
Don't slack off. But what I'm saying is, you do all this work in the beginning to, you know, to be whatever, only to realize once you get married that it's not even you. Is what I'm saying. We were saying be who you are, because you don't want to be, you know, 10 and 15 years down the road and you don't even know who you are. You stand in the mirror and you say, well, who am I? Because you try to, quote unquote, fit into his world or fit into her world. See, the whole thing about being married, and the whole thing about being married is, there were some things about me that were not, you know, that were not good and that need to be improved. She helped me improve those things.
Right.
But I'm still able to be myself. Vice versa. There was some things about her that need to be improved, and I helped her improve them. But now she's still able to be herself.
Yeah.
You know, she sees, quote unquote, where she fits in, and I see, quote unquote, where I fit in. But technically, she sees who she is, and I see who I am, and together we are better. Yeah.
Not only that, don't be in a relationship with someone, whether you're dating or you're married.
Yeah.
Don't be in a relationship and you put on this persona that you're somebody else, or you trying to put up a front for the other person, and then years later come down the road, they realize they married a stranger.
Right.
Because they don't know you. They don't, you know, all they ever asked or whatever was just you to be you, but because you felt like some type of expectation.
Just be you.
Yeah. You know, it kind of falters. It does. It kind of falters, and then they realize they kind of married a stranger, and they don't know who they married.
I'm going to say this, and this might be a touchy thing, so don't put no mean faces. Every man and for every woman, your spouse need to see you, the bare you, not the naked you, because you need to keep your clothes on until after you get married. But they need to see the bare. No, seriously. They need to see. Well, you know what? But this is before you get married.
I know what you mean.
That's why I say keep your clothes on. We don't condone sex before marriage, but they need to see who you are. Meaning, they need to see you sometime without your makeup on. And ladies, I know you guys, y'all. Yes, you pay good money for that hair, so it's your hair. But your spouse sometimes need to see you without your weave in. They need to see how you naturally look. And for men, those who go to the barbershop to get your hair sprayed on and all that other good stuff that you do, this new stuff that's in the barbershop. Your spouse need to see you sometime without your sprayed on hairline.
Or women with the makeup.
Right.
I've seen well, on a TV show, a girl said I never go to bed without my makeup. She go to bed with her makeup on. You know what I'm saying? Like her boyfriend had never seen her without her makeup on. Like I should be able to be no filter with my husband.
You should be able to be yourself. You should be able to be who you are. Now, for those who know, and if you like to wear makeup, that's you. If you don't like, that's fine. But I'm just saying that the spouses need to see one another sometimes without the extra. You know, to see the natural beauty in you.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So that's the challenge of being yourself.
Yes.
Know your own self-identity and worth.
Right. So the last one we're going to talk about tonight is, before we get off, we're going to talk about performance versus presence. That is a challenge. Performance versus presence. And this is how I'm kind of explain it. Is I got it last week when we were talking about different challenges about being there with your spouse and stuff. But then it was funny because I ended up listening to T.D. Jakes last week or whatever, earlier this week, and he was having a simple session or whatever, and he was talking about how as men, as the type of man he is and the type of other men that he surrounds himself with, they're always preaching, they're always on the go, they're always doing something, they're always performing, you know, entertainment, whatever. And he's saying while he's gone, his wife is texting, well, can't wait to see you, boo. When you coming home, you know, I can't wait to see you when you're coming home. And he's like, okay, well, baby, I'll be there. I love you. You know, I'll be there in a couple of days or whatever. So he, you know, he's starting to feel this pressure of needing to be home. And then, you know, and so finally, you know, he gets home and he's like, okay, I'm home. Then what? You know, and she's like, I love you. Yeah, I'm glad you're home. And he's like, she just goes on as life is normal. And he said, I'm sitting there looking like, well, what is it that you want me to do? And he said, but what I realized was, he said she didn't want a performance. She just wanted my presence. And so, and I was like, that confirmed about this challenge that I wanted to talk about, performance versus presence. You know, I don't know if this relates to all guys, like what T.D. Jakes said or whatever, but I know whichever spouse is the one that's always on the go, that's always doing something, that's always working or whatever. The other spouse sometimes, you know, when they're like, well, when you coming home, what are you doing or whatever, it's not so much they want you to come home to do something or to fulfill something. They just want you to be there. And that's the thing. A lot of us sometimes we feel like when we come home, we got to do some kind of service or do some type of act or whatever. And it's not just that. I just want you to be there because, you know, as being a musician's wife, you know, there are times TJ's on the road. It could be a day. It could be 2 days or whatever. He got these rehearsals 2-3 nights in a row. And, you know, and after a while, I kind of get, like, lonely. I get like, okay, I want my baby back. And it's like, and so, you know, it's like, I don't want him to come home so he can entertain me. I want him just there. Like, he literally has to do, he don't have to do nothing. He can just sit on the couch, watch TV, and I feel fine that he's there. The security of knowing that he is there. So it's just like, for those who are called, who have jobs that are very demanding, because I know as a musician wife, you know, being a musician wife, his job can be very demanding sometimes. You know, it could call for him to be out a couple of days, or it could have him doing long rehearsals or whatever. And so sometimes it makes me feel like, oh, okay, where's my husband at? What is he doing or whatever, you know, and stuff like that. And then, I mean, you don't have to be a musician. It could be a person who's a traveling agent. It could be somebody who does photography and travel everywhere. You could be a salesperson. You could have a demanding, it could be a pastor, because, you know, I love my first lady. She, you know, sometimes you can tell she just wants her husband to be home, and, you know, or whatever, because, oh, hey, Lady Sue. And so, you know, it's just funny because the pastor is always demanded from pastoring his church to the souls, to evangelizing on the road, to doing trainings, seminars, workshops. Things can be just demanding or whatever. And, you know, and it's hard. And it can be hard on the spouse, or it could be hard on the wife. And you're sitting there like, I respect and I love what he do. And, you know, you're like, come on, baby, I just need you to come home. I can't wait till you get home. And, you know, he like, well, what do you want me to do when you get here? Nothing. Just want you to sit right here. Just be there.
And so Sherry's talking, she's talking from, I guess, not necessarily the female point of view, because there may be some men who have wives that, you know, evangelize or got jobs or that are musicians, so forth and so on. So it goes both ways. But this is one thing you guys also, like, as I do what I do, I don't understand the plight that, you know, that Sherry fully has when I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how she necessarily, I don't know how she when she tells me, but I don't know how she feels when I'm gone. I don't know, you know, how she has to, the time she has to spend with the kids, or what she has to do to get them ready. I don't understand that, that notion, because in my mind, now, mind you, these are for the spouses who really do care about their family and really want to be home with their family. As a spouse, you want to be home with your family sometimes, but you also understand you sitting home is not going to pay the bills.
Right.
You sitting home is not going to put food in their mouth. It's not going to pay whatever mortgage or rent or whatever the case is. It's not going to keep the lights on. The Bible says the man who don't work pretty much he don't eat. So it's not that I speak for me as a musician. It's not that I don't want to be home. It's just, like I said, I know in order for us to maintain and to exceed in what we're doing, I have to go and do what I do. I have to be to these rehearsals. I have to go in the room. I have to, go to these services. I have to do these. I have to do these. I have to, do these albums. I have to do these things so that we can have what we want. So it's not that, like I said, we don't love our family. We do it because we do love our family.
Right.
Because the thing is, if you do, how people say, if you do the hard work in the front end, you can kind of enjoy it on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is a time where, if you're on the road, just say for instance, it's 365 days in a year. If you're on the road 265 of those days, something is wrong. Because as a spouse, and this is just being serious, as a spouse, there's a week, the beds come in full, comes in queen, it comes in king, and then some of them come in California king. If you go on 265 days a year, somebody else going to keep that side of that bed warm. So there is a point in time, and that's the truth.
Yeah,
there is a point in time where you have to have balance. You have to say, you know what? I've preached enough. I've done enough albums. I've sung in enough performances. I've played enough church. Now I'm not going to. I'm turning. My calendar is closed.
Right.
This month, this week, this day, or whatever the case is, these hours or whatever it is, I have scheduled them for my family. That means I'm not accepting no phone calls, no telephone, no emails, no nothing. There's a coming point in time when you got to work, and then there comes a point in time when you actually have to stay home with your family and spend time with them. Because if you're always on the go, you will sooner or later you will realize it. You're going to lose touch with your wife. You're going to lose touch with your kids, and you don't want your kids looking at you like, well, who is this man or who is this woman? They ain't my daddy, they ain't my mama, and you don't want your wife looking at you saying, well, who is this man? This is not my husband. Or the wife, the opposite. You won't want to be able to look at you and say, that's my husband or that's my father.
Right. And that's the thing about performance versus presence. There's a time to perform. There's a time to go out and do your work. You know what I'm saying? And then there's a time just to be present. And that means when you come home, I put it like this. When my kids are here, when our kids are here or whatever, and we're just sitting around chilling or whatever, I can tell them they can go sleep in their bed, but for some odd reason, they just feel better when they're in our bed. It's like a sense of security. And so when your husband is home, it's just, he don't have to be doing anything. He doesn't have to do anything. I mean, granted, yes, we do like things done, but I'm just saying, he really doesn't have to do anything. But the fact that his presence is there, the fact that he's there, says enough. It speaks volume because it's like a security and it's a comfort to know that you're there. You know what I'm saying? I love it when he's home. There are times when he's gone in the middle of the night. I don't like it because then I'm worried. Is he okay? How long he's going to be gone, And then I think about the protection of us being home. That
and I'm covered. Working. I ain't out.
And he's working. He's not out, But there's a time. There's a time. There's a time. There's a time for everything. So, you know what I'm saying? And when you come off the road, when you come off the road, you take the performing hat off.
Yes, you come off the road. If you are a pastor, or if you are a pastor of worship, or you are an executive, a CEO, when you come home, you ain't a pastor. You ain't a CEO. You ain't a musician. You are musician. You are daddy.
Yes.
That's who you are. So you don't have to. You don't have to. Yeah, like you said, you don't have to be this giant when you're home. Just be who you signed up to be, which is a husband,
and just be there,
a wife,
and just be there. And this goes along with communication too, because don't get me wrong, every now and again I put posts of articles of a musician's wife. That's my thing, and it's just basically telling my side of the story from being married to a musician. And and which the story is kind of similar to some people, married to a pastor, married to a CEO, married to a traveling agent or whatever, because their spouse or whatever is constantly on the go. So, but the same issues tend to arise of being lonely or feeling worried about in the back of your head if they're doing something they don't supposed to be doing and stuff like that. But the thing is, it's a choice. You know what I'm saying? I wake up every day. This was my choice. I chose to marry a man that was a musician. I chose to marry someone that I loved. I fell in love with my best friend, and he just happens to be a musician. So don't do that. Don't do that. And so, and I've learned to accept the fact he is a musician. And I think a lot of people, when we're dating and stuff, we understand that that's their job. We understand that that's their calling or whatever. But we fully don't accept it or embrace it when hard times come. Because then
it doesn't register.
It don't register or whatever. And so you have to learn to accept the full picture and embrace the full picture. There going to be sometimes you may not like it. You know what I'm saying? Because especially in the beginning stages when you're a struggling artist and you're trying to make that dollar and you're trying to get out there and you're trying to do stuff or whatever, you understand the sacrifice.
You're trying to build that business.
Yeah, you understand the sacrifice then, but then when you kind of maintain it, you've reached a certain level or whatever. That's when that balance comes in. That's when that communication comes in. That's when you have to make time. You have to communicate. You even have to set time apart, like he was stating earlier. When I mean set time apart, that means, okay, during this certain amount of time, we're going on vacation. During this certain amount of time, we ain't talking to nobody. It's just me and you, or just me and you and the kids or whatever. You have to do certain things like that. So performance and versus presence, it can be a huge challenge, and honestly we can kind of go on and on about it or whatever, but
one thing,
it's a lot.
Don't expect your spouse to stop being what they were when you got together.
Right.
So as a musician, I can speak for that. Sherry, it was unfair for her to expect me not. It's like I worked hard before she met me. So it was unfair for her to expect me to stop working hard when we got together, because she knew what was what before we met. So, what you really need to do is your spouses, you sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah.
And let each other know what you expect and what you don't expect. But as whoever the person is that's making, I guess doing whatever. For my instance, being a musician, let your spouse know what you expect. But then also on the other side, let your spouse know what it's going to take in order to be able to build what it is that you're building.
Yeah.
So it's going to take work, but you know what I'm saying? It has to be a communication that you understand. He's working hard, but the reason why he's working hard is because, or the reason why she's working hard, it is to build an empire for our family and not just leisure time out there because they just don't want to be home with their family.
What I can say is TJ secures his foundation. TJ secures his foundation. TJ does not give me a reason to doubt or second guess what he's doing while he's out.
That's key.
He secures the foundation because the thing is, I struggle with insecurities. I struggled with trust issues. And so if you struggle in those areas, it's so hard to rebuild trust. It's so hard to rebuild and become secure in that relationship when it's been fractured or broken. And so TJ has always come back. He didn't have to, but he wanted to show to me and tell me and prove to me when he didn't have to that I'm here. I'm 100% here. Even though he's at rehearsal, sometimes he'll text me, I love you, I miss you, thinking of you, you know what I'm saying? Or he'll let me know when he's leaving. He let me know when he's coming back. Certain things is some people call it micromanagement. Some people will call it.
Sherry is not a stalker.
Yeah.
Let me say that. If you got to do that more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, stalker.
I mean, I didn't check up on him like that, but he checked in.
It's out of respect.
And it was out of respect. He checked in, and that's why I say he secured his foundation. He always telling me how much he loved me, and then when he came home, he proved it. You know what I'm saying? Took me out, made me feel good, talked to me, tell me how good I look, stuff like that. Like I never had to second guess. Now I'm not putting nothing past anybody. Because
put your confidence in no man.
We all human. Everybody can make mistakes. Now I need y'all to hear me on that. Everybody can make mistakes. But what I'm saying is that he reassures me that he is here and he's committed to being here. So even though he goes and work those long hours, even though he go and do what he got to do, and sometimes if it's hard to accept or whatever, I embrace it. But also I feel secure because he makes me feel secure. And I can say that's the awesome part of that. So, sometimes it's hard when they're going those long hours because you feel like a single parent.
Right.
When you got kids, you feel like a single parent. You feel like you in this by yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're taking care of bills, you cleaning, you doing the kids, you doing all this stuff. Right. But at the end of the day, you have to understand the roles that are in the marriage. That's the thing. It's understanding. That's what I was talking about, having communication. Understanding the role. Okay, so, for instance, I go out and I do what I do. I'm doing it for the family. That's my role. But then Sherry also has a role. And her role is to do what she does. Right. You know, so it doesn't make what I do, you know, more important than what she does. Or doesn't make what she do more important to me. But we're working together as a team. And because we're working together for one common goal, and that's pretty much to solidify our family, to make sure we have what we need, to build what we have together. And we agreed to this. Ooh. We agreed to this. We did. We stood before God. Oh, okay, yeah, we did. And we made a vow. So we agreed. We came in an agreement. A vow is in a covenant, an agreement, and we agreed to this. And I wrote a poem to him about 7-8 years ago. I said yes. That means I said yes to him being a musician. I said yes to the long nights. I said yes to the couple of days you're going to be gone on trips. Yes to the disagreements. Yes to not understanding everything. I said yes to all of this. We came into an agreement. And that's a hard pill to swallow when you're going through a rough time. But it's the truth. You know, I said yes to this. So it's expected. And so what makes me survive it is walking through it piece by piece. And step by step. It's just like when you say yes to God. When you say yes to God, you don't really know what you're saying yes to do. Now, mind you, you know that God is going to take care of you. You know that God is going to have your best interest. Right. But you don't know the challenges that He's going to take you through because of that yes. And that's what marriage. We're talking about challenges. And that's what marriage is. Marriage, there are different challenges within marriage. So when you say yes at that altar, you don't know what kind of challenges that you're going to face. Right. But if you work at it together, you can achieve and you can go through any challenge and come out with great solutions, and it'll make your marriage better. It's now 45. We've gone over again 16 minutes and 57 seconds. Over our time. So, but yeah. Once again, man, we thank everybody for joining in tonight to Thursday Love. Yes. Again, another night, another great night. And so thank you for all your comments, all your suggestions, even for your thoughts. You know, we love you guys. We do. We love you guys. And thank you for loving us back and tuning in all the time and sharing it. Continue to share it. Continue to show us hearts. Continue to throw love our way. Amen. Alexis, we're not making it an hour. Alexis, we're not making it an hour. Oh no, Alexis, we prayed about it. We prayed about it. But yeah, so continue to love it, continue to share it, continue to do it. We love y'all. Tune in next week. You know, continue to inbox us. Let us know if you still have any questions, any comments, any suggestions, things you want to talk about. We would love to hear from you guys. Yeah. Yes, we would love to hear from you guys. I mean, even some things that we may not quote unquote, have a good grasp on, we know people that we can chat with to help whatever it is that you guys. I know someone talked to me about blended families. Yes, blended families. We don't have that much experience with blended families, but we can also connect with someone that knows about blended families. Perfect people would be our pastor and first lady. They know about blended families. Yes. So we have plenty of resources that we can use to talk about, and that was one of the things that Trish asked about. So I got you, Trish. But we have resources that we can connect with people to talk about some of the challenges or some of the things that you want to talk about to help make your marriage better or to help prepare you for marriage. So with that being said, we thank everybody for joining Thursday Love. You guys have a good night. Yeah, have a great night. And love you guys. Yeah, love you. Please share this video and yeah, please share this video. All right, have a good night, everybody. Good night.